this book review of After the Snow by S.E. Crockett. So I just finished this book last night, and I'm in my PJ and everything, no makeup, no nothing. Thank you, March break, for this awesomeness. But I finished this book last night, and I'm gonna go do a book review of it. So to begin with, a really big thank you to Rainco's Book for kind of providing me this book to read. It was kind of very exciting, so I guess you just wait until this little book review to start. Okay, so I picked this book from Rainco's Book little newsletter because it reminded me a lot of Patrick Ness's Chaos Walking series, which my sister adored like to death, and she really want to read another one like from him. So I think she's probably reading those series again. But I enjoy Patrick Ness's book, not to her extent, but I think it was pretty well written and everything. So I decided to read this book. To begin with, I know that this book is kind of in a colloquialism, kind of written in a slang, and it's have intentional grammar errors, which I know not every single one of you gonna like, and all these kind of grammar queens and kings will not enjoy as much. But personally, I suck at grammar anyway, and I really don't really care, and I felt that because of these grammar and how the author kind of spent her time writing these, I really enjoyed it because it got me thinking about how these characters are uneducated and this is a different world. And how it really provided depth and like character to the character, and it's really kind of really nice to kind of have that. It's not to the extent of Patrick Ness's book where it is kind of almost or the Blood Red Road, that is kind of a lot of kind of slang that you kind of have to figure out. You have to sit through and think, oh, what does that word actually mean? What is that word in English truly? But this, it just feel there once in a while that it is kind of have a slang, which really gave the character some depth, and I really enjoyed that. I mean, and the setting for this book, of course, can be some cold winter post-apocalypse kind of book, and I mean, of course, dystopian books are really in right now, and I kind of just going for it because I really like it as well. It kind of really reminded me of the mini TV series Pillars of the Earth, where it is kind of maybe an olden day or is in the future, but it has slangs that normal nowadays modern kind of people won't use, and it kind of have that snowy feeling, which totally reminded me of a scene from Pillars of the Earth where the families were walking in the forest with all those snows and everything, and there were wolves and people were dying and everything. It just totally reminded me of that. I mean, you totally might not, but like that's how I felt about it. And to the end of the book, I really felt I had the same feeling that I had while reading the Relic Master series by Catherine Fisher. I had that magical feeling where I could just imagine everything, even though it might not be what the author is intending, but I totally just had that feeling of it, and I really enjoyed it because I really love the Relic Master series. It's really good. So I was having a little imaginary rant, I guess, about this book, and I just really loved it. Like, really loved the end of the book and everything. Just loved it. So on to the audience, I guess. The audience of this book, it's definitely a young adult book. At first you might think, this is not a young adult book. I mean, the characters aren't really old. I mean, yeah, but the stuff in here are kind of gory. I mean, it's not for those middle grades or little juvenile fiction, and it is kind of, there are, I guess, more mature content in it because there are swear words in it, there are gory stuff, and there is a girl who is only 14 and is pregnant with this old man's child and everything. I mean, it's life, and it's kind of, if you don't have the stomach for gore or those disturbing content, I guess, of course, definitely you might not like as well. And that's why I said I'm thinking that this book will lean more towards the boyish type of readers, which I am totally one of them. I really love these kind of boyish book, which that leads me to the next point, that this book is not a romance book. It's not the romancy kind of dystopian book. It's, I think this less than 5% of the book is about romance, which is sometimes I kind of crave a little. I mean, it's like, oh, I want to see what's going on. What about the romance side of this? But I guess I was happy that the author didn't take the romance route of dystopian, and it really reminded me of those classic dystopian where it's not kind of about love and everything. It's actually about dystopian of the world, and always the other really dictatorish side of it was always the other side. And that means it really, really totally reminded me of 1984 by George Orwell. And my love for that book, I swear to God, I really loved 1984, and this book totally reminded me of that book, but in a kind of a young adult version of it. So I really love it. Yeah. I do have to say that this book has some flaws, and one of the reasons I probably will not give this book a 5 out of 5 because this book started out quite slow, and the first part of the book, which is about 40% of the book, 40% of the book right here, was really nothing. It was, I guess it was just introducing the story and all, but oh my god, why do you have to take 40% of the book to talk about that? And it's really slow, and I almost gave up on it because I was thinking, oh my god, I can't take this. Where's the good part? But I think if the author cut that part to 10% of the book, I would totally read on straight away. I wouldn't even doubt this book. But I was doubting this book. I was thinking, should I give up? But I really wanted to know what the government is like and what the city is actually like, because they've been talking about the city, and I'm just thinking like, come on, get to the city already, because I really want to read about it. And I think that was sort of kind of my motivation to push forward to actually read the book. I almost didn't finish part 1. I was thinking, oh, this is taking a long time. I was just like reading, and reading. But thank God I didn't, and thank God I actually finished part 1, because after part 1, everything was like, oh my god, oh, here it is, the good part, oh my god, I just kept on reading, and part 2 and part 3 was 5 out of 5, but just part 1 kind of dragged it down a little. It wasn't perfect, it wasn't that good, but so if the author cut the first part down to 10% of the book, you'll be great. This book will be perfect. So yeah. So as I said, part 2 and part 3 are the really great, amazing part. I mean, totally unexpected. There was action, there was kind of strategy, and I kind of exactly kind of how I felt about 1984. I was like, oh my god, heart pounding and everything. I was, oh my god, which actually reminded me that the 3-part section actually really followed 1984 kind of format, which I was like, wow, am I reading 1984 or something? Because that's how I felt the format followed, and it was really nice. I was thinking, after reading part 2, I was blown away about everything. I was thinking, oh my god, I have to finish part 3 because it's so good. I mean, there was some really unexpected thing that happened to me. I was like, I didn't expect that at all. How could such thing happen? So I read on till the night, like 12 12 at night. I was just reading because it was so good. So overall, this book was pretty good. It was not the best book I read, of course, but this book deserved, I think, a 4 out of 5 for me. 4 out of 5 little fires.